What's up, guys? This is Bobby Douglas, and we are back again with another 2020 NBA Draft Prospect full video breakdown. And today we are looking at Washington big man Isaiah Stewart. Isaiah Stewart was a top 10 player in his recruiting class. His NBA ceiling, I personally believe, is limited because he's a 6'9 center. And again, I just am not really high on those types of players in the modern NBA. He's pretty much a back-to-the-basket guy. He does have good footwork. He has a nice shooting touch, as we will see in this video. But overall, I have him ranked, I believe, 58th in my top 100, which I am very low on him compared to most. A lot of people have him as a fringe first-round prospect. I'm a bit lower on him than the consensus, but nevertheless, he's worth talking about as a prospect in this draft class. So let's get right into it. So this is the game against Tennessee. Remember, this is the third game of the season, so he might look a little bit, a little bit raw, a little bit unseasoned, but just remember that's the... And whoops, I gotta slide this up here. So, and here we go. So he's gonna be number 33 in black, Isaiah Stewart. So he'll take the tip off against John Fulkerson. Lost the tip. Again, he's kind of below the rim as a big. He's not a vertical athlete. Kind of doesn't really move his feet all that well. And Washington will play basically a 2-3 zone where they'll have the wings of the bottom level, they'll kind of cheat up. So that's kind of what Washington will do on defense. And Isaiah Stewart's pretty much the anchor of that. He's in the middle on the bottom. So he's basically protecting the paint, protecting the rim. He didn't have any blocks in this game, but he actually was a pretty good rim protector for his 6'9 frame. He averaged over 2 blocks a game, which is very impressive for someone who's only 6'9 and weighs about 250 pounds. So again, he's not that explosive of a vertical athlete, but again, he was actually a pretty impressive shot blocker. So I'll skip these free throws here. And at this point, I'll just leave them. So just watch him. One of his more intriguing strengths is that he always seems to be playing hard. A lot of people say that he's the hardest playing player in this draft. Always giving 100% on offense and defense. So we'll like that there. Again, that's a decent shot contest. Maybe he got there a little bit late, but again, with a 2-3 zone, the goal is to find the middle. They did that well in Eeps Pond, buried a nice little 12-footer over Stewart. And again, I don't think he's very viable on switches either in the NBA. He's just kind of slow-footed. He's a traditional big man with only a 6'9 height. So again, I'm not super high on him just from a physical standpoint, but I do think he's pretty skilled. He had a double-double in this game. He had 14 points and 10 rebounds. That's a good shot contest from Stewart. Again, he has good instincts and he's a good shot blocker and rim protector. I really do think that's a good part of his game. The problem is he was a pretty good rim protector in college at 6'9". I don't know how well that translates over to the pros because the best rim protectors, as we see him, a nice little post move right there. Little left-handed, one-handed finish. That was really nice. Again, I think he's a skilled player in the post offensively. I think he'll get a lot of baskets in the NBA in those situations. It's just a matter of how viable is his game in the rest of the facets of basketball right now, and I really don't see the upside with him necessarily. But again, for being a below-the-rim athlete, for not having a super explosive jump, he has good instincts, good hands, and he'll get a lot of hands on shots. He'll get a lot of deflections and a lot of blocks. Good job sealing off, and again, just eating. Again, he's good at carving out space at that size, too, because he's good at sealing. Again, really technically sound with his feet. He's not the fastest big man, but he's just very fundamentally sound in that regard. And you'll see number 4 for Washington. That's Jaden McDaniels. So again, right there, he was kind of slow to react. He actually recovered pretty well there, and he got a shot contest. But again, number 4 for Washington is Jaden McDaniels. I'll do a video on him as well. I believe I have him 19th on my big board. So here he is on the post again. So Fulkerson's fronting him. They can't really get him the ball. I think he pushed, yeah, offensive foul there. And again, by all accounts, he's like a really good kid. He just gave that ref a high five. I really like his character. Nobody has a bad thing to say about Isaiah Stewart. He's just one of those guys, that he just brightens up a room by all accounts. So that's something to look into as well. Maybe you're looking at a Montrezl Harrell comparison in the NBA. I think he's a little bit worse than Montrezl Harrell. I think his ceiling's a little bit lower, but I think he's going to fill that type of niche in the NBA. The problem with him is that I don't really think he's capable of guarding perimeter defenders, and Harrell I think is a much more switchable defender. So Stewart's really going to have to work on that, I think. Again, right there we saw on the previous play we saw him go wall straight up, and again he couldn't really jump and focus and just had a nice little jump hook over him. Because again, he's just, again, if he were 6'11", different story, I think, but it's a shame that he's only 6'9". See, again, always active, going after loose balls right there. He was pretty much out of getting that rebound, but he still went up and tried to tip it back. Again, people are going to really like his hustle in the NBA. He's one of those guys who I hope sticks in the NBA, but I'm just not 100% sure if he will. Also, with the way Washington plays defense, he really doesn't have to move around a lot, so it almost kind of protects him in a way because they play zone, so he's never really switching on to smaller guards on ball screens and stuff like that. And you saw right there, he was perfectly fine giving up that little mid-range jumper to Fulkerson if he wanted it, just because he knew that there was going to be a teammate ultimately recovering there. So his job is just to stay in the paint, so therefore we aren't really seeing a whole lot of defensive versatility that he may have. But again, just based on what we've seen, I'm not really sure that that's really there with him. So we'll skip this. So again, they're in the zone again. Look, so it's like an extended 2-3, what Washington's doing. And this is where Matisse Thybulle, again, right there, again, another really, again, didn't really get up super high, but again, he just knows when to contest, when to leave his feet. I think he's pretty disciplined on defense in that regard. So right there, he knew that somebody was coming from behind. They got a foul called, but we'll skip these free throws right here. No turnover for Washington. Washington was one of those teams, man. It's a travel. God, this game's sloppy. But Washington was one of those teams where they, remember their first game of the year, they beat Baylor, I think, in overtime. They had this major comeback and they ended up beating Baylor. Baylor ended up turning into one of the best teams in the nation this year. And then Pac-12 play hit and they just hit a cliff. I think they were well below 500 at the end of the year, and that's with 2 5-star players, 3 5-star players if you count Quade Green. So really, the talent was there this year in Washington. It was a really disappointing season for them, ultimately, in the Pac-12. So again, he's carving out space down low. Let's see what he does here. See, like, that's just a really solid post move, Again, good footwork there. Used his left foot to get around Fulkerson, and then it was a nice little jump hook with his right. Really good job. Let's see him on defense here. Again, disciplined. That time he bit. That was a good pump fake from Fulkerson, but he did bite there, and that's his second foul. So again, that's another issue. He would get into foul trouble a decent amount at Washington, and now he's going to be, and look at him, he's just like smiling. He's just, again, I really like him as a person, That's tough. He did a really good job staying down on the first 2 moves Fulkerson did. The third one just got him. That's a tough situation to be in. So he will, let's see. So Stewart will go out here, I believe. Yes. So I will skip ahead to 13:47 is when he comes back. And he's not out for a very long time here. So again, now we're actually going to see him play on the wing. Let's see how he does here. That's a good job just fighting for that rebound. Was kind of flat-footed there. Not really his fault, though. He was kind of taken off balance a little bit. But again, I'm actually excited to see him play on the wing here into 2-3 because I think he'll have to guard a lot more perimeter, some more perimeter-oriented players for Tennessee. So let's see how he handles himself on defense. So we got another foul here. Ooh, jeez. So the guy who just blocked that, actually, his name is Yves Pons, number 35 for Tennessee. He's actually just a few spots below Isaiah Stewart on my big board. He's number 60 right now, and he's expected to go back to Tennessee, but next year after, I think he'll be a senior. Next year, if he decides to come back, I think he can be a first-round pick. I'm really high on Yves Pons. So again, right here he's on the wing. Again, it's just a extended 2-3 zone. And again, Hopkins was a Syracuse assistant for a really long time. Mike Hopkins, Washington's head coach, a Syracuse assistant for a long time. So again, he knows everything about that Syracuse zone that Jim Boeheim loves to run. And so he brought it over to Washington. And a lot of people have really shined defensively in that. So I think they got Pons on a foul. Again, he's a really good job at just staying physical and just carving out space. You know, we've already seen him twice, I believe. That's just a mean block. But we've already seen him twice draw a foul just by posting up. You know, so I think that's something that he's pretty good at. And again, if he does end up getting fouled and going to the free throw line, he's a 77.4% free throw shooter. So that's not a horrible percentage by any means. And he keeps showing that block. That's just absurd. But overall, his percentage is 57% from the floor this year. Again, a lot of those shots are coming in the paint. 25% from three, not exactly what you want, but again, 77.4 gives you a little bit of hope at least for that outside shot to develop. 17 points a game, 8.8 rebounds a game. Again, 6'9", 250. You know, only less than an assist a game compared to 2.2 turnovers. You know, he needs to work on that aspect of his game a little bit, but so here he is again. That's just, see what I mean? He's almost automatic in the post. He's really good at just using his body to carve out space and then getting these jump hooks over long defenders. That's 8 points, and I think he's pretty much scored them the exact same way. And he's on the wing right here. I want to see him guard someone on the perimeter. Here we go. Let's see what he does here. So that he's guarding Jordan Bowden right now, or at least he's matched up with him in the zone. So right there, you maybe want to see him get a contest up there, but he was also worried about, I think that was Fulkerson down low, so he just kind of picked his poison again, and you want to see the middle guy maybe contest that, as we saw Isaiah Stewart do when he was the middle guy in that zone right there. Remember, we saw that middle entry pass go right to him, and then go right towards the person in the middle, and then he would ultimately step out and contest that shot, so maybe that's not on him. And again, he was worried about the guy cutting baseline. So again, now he's still playing outside, and I think that's Hamir Wright in the middle of that zone right now. So that time he tried to fight over, I believe that was, I don't know if number 28 one is for Tennessee, but try to get around for a rebounding position, but I don't think he got there, but ultimately the shot went in, so. Ball screen. Right there, that was a bad entry pass from McDaniels to Stewart. But again, I think he's really good at getting to his spots in the post. I think he posts up really well. I think he carves out space well. He does a lot of things well. The problem is the NBA just doesn't really value that anymore. So I think that's more of an issue. Right there, he actually did a pretty good job walling up. You could see his footwork was kind of out of whack, but he just did a good job just staying with the play and staying in front of Lamonte Turner, who's a pretty quick guard for Tennessee. Right there's one of those plays where he was kind of chasing that corner shooter. I don't know why, but maybe you want to see him just wall up in the paint and worry about the guy down low. So we'll skip. So again, some of my issues with Isaiah Stewart comes down to the problem I mentioned with Obi Toppin. I think it's a similar thing with Isaiah Stewart. It's that he's not really quick enough to guard people on the perimeter, but is he really big enough to guard people down low? He's just like the worst type of tweener I think you could really have in the NBA, and that's why I'm ultimately lower on him, just because his measurables and his attributes just don't really add up. So again, right there, he kind of was. Again, luckily, thanks to the zone, he's never going to get totally burnt on a play. But in man and isolation, I think people could really take advantage of him at the NBA level. And again, he did a decent job staying with Turner, just leading him to another defender. But again, I'm not really sure you're going to be asking him to defend wings one-on-one on the perimeter off the bounce. I just don't really think that's part of his game. So you could see right now. So every single time Lamonte Turner will get the ball and Isaiah Stewart's guarding him, he will immediately look to drive. Stewart's done a pretty good job of just walling him towards the middle, which is good. And again, I think he's a pretty technically sound defender despite just having slow feet and everything. I think he's a smart player on defense. I think he knows what to do. It's just a matter of just the physical attributes. So let's see. Let's see how he handles this double team. Creating out of double teams not really his strong suit right now. He's no Jahlil Okafor in that regard. Where Jahlil Okafor would just get the ball, sky it over everybody's head, and just pick out passes from the double team. He's no Jahlil Okafor in that regard. In fact, he actually looks pretty slow out of double teams at times. He'll get flustered with the ball occasionally when double teams are on him, and he'll turn it over a lot in those situations as well. He set up quite a few ball screens. Again, that was a really good job just hand fighting number 21 on Tennessee and just getting his body in front of him. He was in good position for that rebound. So now he's on the right wing instead of the left wing here. So again, they're bringing Lamonte Turner over to his side, and let's see him drive. Yep, so right there, again, he tried to drive. And again, so yeah, you saw right there, he had been doing a pretty good job on Turner. Right there, he got by him baseline. And again, the thing with Washington's zone is that the people on the wings, they want to force you middle. And so Stewart, that was a blown coverage by Stewart. He allowed Turner to go baseline. Ultimately led to an open three for Tennessee. Not really much going on there. And Stewart had two screens, it looked like, and then there's a foul there. So let's see. 25-43. So he's out right here, so I'll skip ahead to 28-44 is when he comes back in. So it looked like that got deflected. I believe it's still Tennessee's ball. Or Washington's ball, excuse me. So he's at a ball screen again. And so now he's going to be in the post. And look, so 21's kind of trying to front him. But again, he's a good job at just using space. Let's see what he does here. That's a good entry pass out of a double team. Let's see if he knocks it down. Nope. That's tough. So he's battling down low again. And now he's just kind of staying attached to 21. So it looks like Washington's actually a man here. So let's see what they do with Stewart. If we got a foul, then that'll be a immediate timeout, so we'll skip. Good job commanding space right there. He allowed Fulkerson to front him, but then they didn't pick him out in the pass, and then he ultimately got better position for that rebound. So let's see what he does down here. Again, he's in the post. See, that's one of those things where he really needs to work on his just overall offensive just feel for the game, I would say. He's not the greatest ball handler. He's not the greatest passer at this stage in his development. You'll see a lot of missed passes, a lot of lost dribbles leading to turnovers, so that's something to look out for when you watch him. But again, overall, I do think he's a smart player. It's just a matter of just getting reps in, practicing that, those movements and motions and stuff like that. So again, here he is in the post. So again, that time right there, so he kind of got caught in a double team right there. He went baseline. He maybe could have gotten that jump hook off a little bit earlier if you were going to take that. But again, Fulkerson came down and crashed on him from the middle. And again, he just got blocked right there. So he does right here again. It's good restraint, not taking that shot. So then here he is on the perimeter. We have to see him a little bit there. But Fulkerson's not going to really do much to him. Okay, so right here. So right now, so let's see what Lamonte Turner does here. Okay, that was actually pretty good defense from Stewart. You could tell he was giving him a little bit of space, so maybe. So at the NBA level, I think people would shoot a pull-up three there. But Turner chose to drive, and Stewart actually did a pretty good job moving his feet and just staying in front. You got free throws here, so I'll skip these. That was a good screen. McDaniels rejected it, but it was a good solid screen set by him. So again, that's part of the game where he's working on that. And again, I do think the touch is there with him. It's just all about reps. But right there, that's a pretty, if he can add that face-up aspect to his game, I think he'll become a lot more well-rounded on offense. That's tough because he kind of got caught helping on the drive, and then he couldn't really get back in time to Pons, who knocked down that three. And that's ultimately my worry with him defensively a lot. Just what happens when NBA teams put him on guards and stuff like that. I just am not sure if he's necessarily super viable in those situations. So he is out right here, and then he doesn't come back in for the rest of the half. So I'll end the first half video here. Thank you guys for watching again, and I will upload the second half video as soon as this one is finished uploading. So yeah, we will see you for the second half. Thanks for watching, and make sure to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you then.